we are now learning about content and function morphemes. Content morphemes carry semantic content. Now, let's discuss what semantic content means. When I tell you that content morphemes bring semantic content, what do I mean by that? They have a reference, at least a reference to some meaning. What is the meaning of ly? Happy, happily. Fortunate, fortunately. Does ly have a semantic content? Or it's more to a grammatical, a syntactic content?
Yeah, I guess I would say a syntactic.
Syntactic content,
Okay.
like, for example, guitar and guitars. The final S is more semantic or syntactic?
Synthetic.
Yeah, it's synthetic, grammatical, okay,
Yeah.
to use a more familiar word. So there are morphemes that bring semantic content, and there are others that bring grammatical content, okay? Content morphemes carry some semantic content. For example, when I say computing, compute, the root compute brings you syntactic or grammatical content? Sorry, semantic or grammatical content? Compute. In the word computer. Vocês acham que está mais para semântica ou para gramática? Compute.
Semantic?
Semantic. The word visor. Visor. This thing here. A visor for a helmet. The word visor is composed of vis plus or. Vis. The morpheme vis is more semantic or syntactic? Deixa eu abrir o Word aqui. We'd better see what we are discussing. Visor. Oops. So we have these two morphemes. Now consider this. Is it more semantic or vocês não estão vendo, eu não compartilhei a tela. Sorry. Então sim. Is this semantic or syntactic? Dá para derivar outras palavras daí? De vez?
Dá.
For example,
Vision.
vision. So it's semantic. Now,
Visible.
visible, yeah. Take the word teacher. Take the morpheme teach. Semantic or grammatical? Is it for concordance? Is it for verb tense? Is it for plural? If it's for one of these things, like concordance, verb tense, plural, gender, then it's grammatical. If it gives you an idea of something in the world, a name, or the one that does a process, then it's semantic. Teach, is it semantic or grammatical?
Semantic.
Okay, now, okay, this is easy. Teach, you know the action, okay, you teach. How about the final in teacher or as in performer? Final in performer, which is the same morpheme, or it's allomorph, or as in actor. or, they are allomorphs, okay? This and or, is this morpheme, because this is only one morpheme, is this morpheme semantic or syntactic? Is it a content or a function morpheme?
Function.
It's a content morpheme.
It's a content morpheme. That's what I said.
The one that teaches, the one that acts, the one that performs. Every time you can give a kind of name or definition for the morpheme, it is content. The one that. This is the name of this morpheme here. The one that. Okay, the one that teaches, the one that acts, the one that performs, the one that plays. So this is a content morpheme. A function morpheme is like this. Teachers. I cannot give a name to this. This is just for grammar. It's more than one. Okay, more than one. Or act. Act, is it content or function? It's a verb, right? The verb to act. Okay. I'll take the sentence. He acts as a foolish man. This final S, content or function? In other words, meaning or grammar? This one in yellow. Meaning? Is it here for meaning or for grammar?
Grammar?
For grammar, so it's a function morpheme.
Well, now I get it.
So if it's related to grammar, it is function. If it's related to semantics, it's content. You see? Are you convinced of that? We have these two types of morphemes. They are either for the sake of grammar or for the sake of meaning. If they are more related to meaning, to naming things, to naming actions, they are content morphemes. If they are there just to fulfill a grammatical rule, like simple past, past perfect, gerund, and so on, they are function morphemes. They have a grammatical function. So, example, car, able, or run, or un, they are content morphemes. Remember, un, we can name un, like un means reverse process. Okay, I can put a name on it, on this morpheme. Un or d mean reverse. This final bow here, or able, means the ability to, or the capability to. Okay, car is a one morpheme word. It's the name of something in real world. They are all content morphemes. Now, function morphemes act exclusively to provide grammatical information and syntactic agreement. For example, and, okay, the word and for addition, on, all the prepositions, all the conjunctions or the plurals, they are there just to give you the idea of opposition, of plural, of addition, and so on. What is the meaning of but? It's difficult to define the word but. Yeah, we know that it presents us the idea of contradiction, but it's grammatical. Okay. what is the idea of and? You
Addition.
can, yeah, you can, yes, you can probably symbolize it with the plus symbol,
Hmm.
but and gives us the idea of one and other and other. It's grammatical. The plural and are kind of similar. They give us the idea of more than one, but we cannot say it's meaning itself. It's one meaning and another meaning. And here is like a just a tool to put two meanings together. So note that these are not simply different names for derivational and inflectional distinction that we are going to see later on. Okay. Basically, for now, I want you to keep in mind that a function morpheme is more related to grammar, whereas a content morpheme is more related to semantics, okay? To what you can define in the dictionary, okay? Function morphemes are related to grammatical rules, to the idea of opposition, to the idea of addition, to the idea of for example, the suffix "ly" in all adverbs, okay, in a certain way, okay, they are grammatical, they are not content morphemes, they are function morphemes, not content, okay, like in happily or um, hopefully, thankfully, this final "ly" is grammatical, just to give you the idea of in a way, in a certain way, okay.
I have a question here.
Yeah,
You mentioned that and, on, but, etc. They are um, morphemes related to grammar, right?
yeah, function, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you said that or if I was just confused, but they don't have meanings by themselves. They need something else to add
No,
meaning
they
to
do.
them.
They do. They have a meaning by themselves. I mean, we know the difference between in and on. Okay, so and, on, but they are all free morphemes. Okay, they are free. They are not bound, but they are free and function. You know what I mean? One thing is splitting morphemes into the two categories of bound and free. It's one way of classifying them. Okay,
Uh-huh.
for sure, and, on, and but are free. They do exist in the dictionary, but they do not exist in the dictionary with a semantic meaning. They exist with a syntactic function. If you go to the dictionary and look up but, you will see uh, probably a conjunction. Okay,
Mhm.
it's defined as a conjunction to give the idea of uh, opposition. Okay, so it has a grammatical role to play in the language.
It
It's
doesn't represent a process or anything of the sort. It's just for grammar functions, isn't it?
That's it. That's it. It does not name something either concrete or abstract in the world. So
Okay.
content morphemes are basically the nouns. Well, the verbs too. They name things in the real world. You see,
Okay.
either
Uh-huh.
concrete or abstract. So what I'm presenting you in this class are different ways of establishing dichotomies in classifying morphemes. Okay, so every time I'm presenting a category of classification, I'm presenting it as a dichotomy, like dichotomy number one, bound and free. Dichotomy number two, uh, just forgot, root and affix, which has a stem as an intermediate unit. Dichotomy number three, content and function. Okay, so it happens that a free morpheme, which can stand alone as word by definition, may be either content or function, okay, according to its role in the English language as a grammatical element or as the naming of a process or of an entity or the description of this process. You see? Ficou mais claro, gente?
Yes.
Ok. São 3 dicotomias diferentes, tá? E sempre uma em relação à outra. Eu não posso falar. Eu posso ter, por exemplo, um morfema. Ele é ao mesmo tempo free e ele é function, que é o caso do but, né? Ou car. Ele é ao mesmo tempo free, porque ele existe, ele é o morfema e ele é a palavra, e ele é content, porque ele nomeia algo no mundo. Ok? Então, são categorias distintas e uma só existe em oposição à outra, tá? O bound só existe em oposição ao free e vice-versa. O content só existe em oposição ao function e vice-versa, ok? I hope it's clear now. And so we have another distinction, which is derivational and inflectional, ok? Morphemes can era o que eu estava falando. Morphemes can be bound while content, or they can be bound while function. They can also be free while content, or free while function. Okay, they can be both things. Morphemes may be free as well, like the prepositions. On, but is not a preposition. On, in, at, okay? Prepositions, for example, are free function morphemes. Okay, prepositions are free function morphemes. On, it's free. We know on, the meaning of on. Okay, but it's function because it's here for grammar. On the desk is different from in the drawer. Okay, so it helps grammar make its job. Okay. By next class, we'll discuss word formation, but first of all, I will start discussing inflection and derivation, okay? I will tell you about inflection and derivation, and I will present you another list of activities to decide whether a morpheme is inflectional or derivational, okay? Do you have any questions about this content here? I think if you watch the class again, I'll try to solve the problems with access. Do you all have problems accessing the class in Google Drive, right? It's not working, I think. Alguém tentou, alguém mais, parece que o Vitor tentou, foi o Felipe,
I did.
foi o Felipe, e tentou acessar e não conseguiu pelo Google Drive. Eu vou tentar subir no YouTube, tá, gente?
I watched it on Google Drive. It was perfect.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to put an alternate link on YouTube, okay? Just as a solution for those who are unable to access by Google Drive because it seems to be working in some machines and not in others, okay? So by next class, we'll discuss inflection and derivation and do some exercises, okay? Do you have any questions for now?
I just have to say, I do have a question actually. Would you be kind to make the slides available as well, or just the video?
Oh, okay. I could make it available. I just have to share a folder on Google Drive for that. Okay, I'll be doing it by by next class. I think it will be done. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Try
Thanks.
to
Thanks a
share
lot.
folder, an updated folder. Okay. Let me just take a print screen here for the attendance. Okay. So have a nice morning. Okay. See you on Tuesday. Okay.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice
See
morning.
you.
Bye.
Well, since nobody came, I'm recording this class, like this part of the class, to be watched sometime later on. Okay, so we left our discussion on morphemes and we were talking about affixes. So what are affixes? Affixes can be either prefixes and suffixes. An affix is a morpheme that comes at the beginning if it's a prefix or at the ending uh, as a suffix of a base morpheme. Okay, so we have a base morpheme, normally a root, and we attach an affix to it before prefix, after a suffix. An affix is usually a morpheme that cannot stand alone. So an affix is usually, in other words, a bound morpheme. Examples are the suffixes full, li, iti, nes. Uh, a few exceptions are able, like, and less, because they have a meaning on their own. Okay, like and less, for example, are words themselves. Prefix is an affix that comes before a base morpheme. The in the word inspect is a prefix. A suffix is an affix that comes after a base morpheme, like, for example, the s for the plural in cats is a suffix. Affixes are all bound morphemes, except the able. But in fact, able and able are not exactly the same morpheme. They are uh, homophones. Okay, so we have like that I mentioned before and less that are words, but usually they are bound morphemes. Okay, so we have a chart here with the prefixes. Prefixes are bound morphemes which occur only before other morphemes, whereas suffixes are bound morphemes which occur following other morphemes. For example, the final for the performer of the action, singer, teacher, performer, etc. The ist, as in typist, pianist, or the li in the adverbs, mainly, friendly, and so on. Now, what are grammatical morphemes? Grammatical morphemes are opposed to lexical morphemes. So let's see what they are. Let's see the difference in meaning between apple and apples. What is the big difference in meaning here? What's the difference in the form of the word? Just the final s, the final suffix, the suffix, of course. A suffix is final. So what does it tell you about these two words? Well, these two words do not change meaning. We just change grammar to give the idea of plural. But apple, apples, they have a very close meaning. So grammatical morphemes like these, the final s for plural, can have an internal structure, tells us that words can have an internal structure much like the syntax of phrases. So it's predictable. Whenever you put an S or ES or OES, you are making the word in its plural form. So morphemes such as the final S or re, in the case the prefix re, near the grammatical end of the continuum, are called grammatical morphemes. Why? Because grammatical morphemes have the property of changing the word so that the word, sorry, so that it will fit grammatical rules. It will provide gender concordance, number, verb tense, and so on. We have discussed this the last class. So note that the grammatical morphemes include forms that we can consider to be words, like the, and of, which are conjunctions, prepositions, and others that make up parts of words, like the final s and the final ed. For example, in the words pencils, we have the base pencil, and we have its plural form pencils, which semantically are not that apart. They just gain this final s so that we have the idea of plural. In walked and walk, we have the same notion. We just have the idea of past tense or of past participle, depending on the context. But it's still the verb to walk. Now, what are the differences between each type of morpheme? We learned that these types of morpheme exist in relation to each other. They are defined in relation to each other. So what is a bound morpheme? It's what's not a free morpheme. What is a grammatical morpheme? It's what's not a lexical morpheme. What is a function morpheme? Uh, it's what is not uh, a content morpheme, and so on. Okay, so what is the function of each type of morpheme, and what is the difference between the content and lexical words, for example, or function and grammatical words? Let's see. Content words denote concepts such as subjects, actions, and ideas. So they are the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, the adverbs. Whereas content words are also open class words, which means that new words can be added to the language if necessary. We can create words. Neologisms are proof of this. So, for example, steganography, which is the art of hiding information in electronic text. This is a word that has been created up to the moment, in the moment that the art of steganography has appeared. So we can create words. They are open class. That's what I mean when they are open class. Now, differently, function words express grammatical functions. They are the prepositions, the articles, the conjunctions, the pronouns, and these words, sorry, these words are not created all the time. These words are I mean, they are more rigid. They exist in the language, and we don't need to create other words to provide their functions. So function words connect the content words to the larger grammatical context. They operate in favor of grammar. Function words are also called closed class words because no new words are added to this class. Okay, so these are basically the types of morpheme. And next class, since we do not have discussion today, next class we are supposed to discuss the new topic, which is the process of word formation. So we are going to see how English words are formed, the different processes for word formation, like prefixation, affixation, composition, blending, acronyms, and so on. But I'll leave this for next class because we were supposed to have a discussion and examples today, but no students came. So this is all for today, okay? And I hope you are here with me by next class, right? So see you on Thursday, okay? And please don't miss class because, well, we need to advance, and I'd like to do some exercises with you all together, right? Thank you.